of transfer gossip, bit of tittle-tattle today. Some good, some bad, some probably a load of rubbish, and some a little bit worrying. We'll get to those bits in a minute. I guess the biggest news of the day as we sort of approach lunchtime on Saturday is that David Moyes has turned down the opportunity to sign Brighton's Bissouma. Oh, I'd say Brighton's, but it's not like Aston Villa have got a Bissouma. They're not like Dembele's, are they? Do you know what I mean? Not like Traore's. So David Moyes has turned down the chance to sign Bissouma from Brighton and rather go with the Ward-Prowse option. I don't know whether you think that's good or bad or not. We're going to try and pick our way through it today. There's a couple of other stories as well. In fact, I'd be interested to know what you fancy out of the two in the comments below. Speaking about the comments, some brilliant comments last couple of days. Really good stuff. Bearing in mind, we were talking about the youngsters, talking about Perkins, talking about Ben Rama as well. Some great arguments and counter-arguments on there. Really, really good. Changed my mind on a couple of points, actually, with really well argued counter-arguments. I mean, like Raoul's arguments, just really good, like nicely presented debating, if you like. Gio's going to be caught between a rock and a hard place on this one. I'd be interested to see what he thinks on this, really, because I guess because I just phoned him out, couldn't I? But anyway, he likes Bissouma and he likes Ward-Prowse. We never do the build-up when we play Brighton or play Southampton. As you will know, he rates both players highly. Going to be interested. Not sure where I am on it just yet. I do think, because we've got someone called Zuma, who I like to call Satsuma, if we've got Bissouma, I'll probably also would call him Satsuma. Might make things a little bit difficult. Maybe that's a reason to pick Ward-Prowse. That being said, apparently, because I believe Bissouma's got a year left on his contract. Ward-Prowse's contract runs till 2026, I believe. So the rumour is that, and to be fair, I'm saying this today, as a few people who know me will certainly attest to. This has been going around behind the scenes. This little rumour from maybe the Bissouma rumour has been doing the rounds for probably about a month now that we've been offered him for 20. I'm not sure I believe the 25 million, but he only has a year left on his deal. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. One thing I do think comes into play is if Ward-Prowse is going to be 65 million and Bissouma's 25 million, there's only one show in town, isn't there, really? And you've got to take Bissouma. But anyway, Moyes has decided to go for Ward-Prowse. Do I think it's a risky strategy? Not if I think he gets him. But look, it's his budget. I've always said with all of these players, it's really important that we get a player that David Moyes wants. We've seen it with Haller. If David Moyes doesn't want him, just won't use him. Have you seen it with Ben Rama, Vlasic? There's no point. Whether you or I think someone's a good player, I guess it's neither here nor there. I'm interested in your opinion on these two players. But David Moyes got to have who David Moyes wants. And realistically, we are a counter-attacking and set-piece team. If he thinks Ward-Prowse is the answer, then fair play. I think the same with a centre-back as well. Are we going to... Southampton to sell? I think that's going to be a little bit of a difficult one. We've got to use what little leverage we've got with European football. It might not be the most prestigious competition in the world, but we've got to use that as leverage to get him, to get Ward-Prowse, because otherwise, why wouldn't he just stay on the south coast? He's got a big contract there, he's captain, he likes living down there, he already gets into England squads. What can we offer him above and beyond what he's currently getting in Southampton? Well, I guess it'd be more wages and, of course, the chance to play European football. The Bissouma one, he's an all-action player, isn't he? Let's be fair. It was Declan Rice. I think Gio told me that Declan Rice was doing one of these quizzes, one of these Q&As, where he was asked name 5 players who are the most difficult to play against in the Premier League, something like that. And apparently he said Bissouma. Bissouma was in the top 5, so it's a nightmare to play against. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder how much. It's going to be easy to think this is Rice's replacement. I think for next season, whoever this is plays alongside Rice, which feeds into the Thomas Souceks story that Thomas Souceks is off. I'm not quite ready to write that off yet. I've not quite resigned myself to almost the final rubber stamping of Souceks leaving. I still think there's room for compromise there. He's on, as we find out, relatively low wages for a first team player, 50 grand a week. Now, you've got to remember when we signed him from Czech Republic, he would have been on a lot less. So I don't blame the club for giving him. He probably trebled his wages when he came over. He's obviously done well, particularly at the start of his career. So I don't. Does he? Should he be earning 125 grand a week? I don't know, but surely there's a compromise there, and I'm not convinced that a compromise can't be reached. It's just, maybe both parties have got to be a little bit less stubborn. Before I get on to the next story, this is sponsored. This video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, which you can download by clicking that link underneath your screen there or scanning that QR code. No idea how it works. The OneFootball app really is the best football app out there, and I'll tell you why. It's because you can tailor it to your own specifications. I don't hear Arsenal news, I don't hear Tottenham news, I don't hear any of that other stuff. If you wanted to, you just don't have to click any preferences when you download the OneFootball app, which is free. My preferences, I click West Ham and I click England. Not so much of the England recently. I found it a little bit boring, but what the app does, it puts all the West Ham news into one place for me, so I don't have to go searching for it. I use it a lot to do these videos, funny enough. It's free. Use the link below. The other story that I think is quite heavy in the West Ham news is Areola. Now, it becomes interesting now because good old Harry, we've now decided we may well want him. This feeds into something I've been talking about very recently, which is schmoozing a player. Letting a player know you want them, letting a player know they're worth, really telling a player, we want you. Because Fulham are in, that's no news, he's played for Fulham before anyway, but now apparently Newcastle are interested. And now we find ourselves in a very, very tricky situation. Because we like him, as fans we like him, that's certainly the case. I think we would have had this deal wrapped up by now if, as agreed, PSG are willing to subsidise a little bit of his wages to get him off the books. The fee's not particularly prohibitive. So if the finances can be arranged, that's the financial stuff, then the other stuff is, do we like the player? Well, clearly we like the player. Clearly he fits in at West Ham. Clearly he's a part of things. It then comes down to David Moyes to be able to persuade him. Now, as I read in a footnote of one of these articles, and they are everywhere, and this one was in, Football League World. All right, it's not, might not be the biggest publication in the world. And it just said Fulham still pushing with transfer race with Newcastle and West Ham. For PSG keeper. Fulham are still keen to beat Newcastle and West Ham to sign the PSG goalkeeper Areola as they prepare for life in the Premier League, which is obviously why it's in Football League World. But they go on to say Areola's looking for assurances on his future. There we go. Because we can't blast Newcastle out the water for money, can we? Because they'll just be able to pay more than us. Then all it comes down to is what card do we have left to play? Well, we got the European football cards I mentioned earlier on with Ward-Prowse. We've also got the fact that actually you're settled here. So again, it comes down to Moyes. And this is the point. If he's looking for assurances about his future, he wants to know that he's going to play. Then this is the point to actually say to him, mate, you're our number one. What we don't need David Moyes doing, well, look, I'll give you a chance at some point, and if you keep the shirt. That's not that's not how you get a transfer over the line. Yes, you've got to make people feel wanted. I know everybody else gets frustrated with different things about Moyes, and I think Moyes is a great manager. I think he's a brilliant manager. And do you know what? I'll say this now. I don't know videos. We're going to have a good season next season. Even if we can just get 4 players in, I think we need more. We do, but we'll have a good season next season because he's a good manager, right? So my frustration, I know some people get frustrated of substitutions. I do as well, by the way, and maybe dithering in the transfer and all that stuff. My one is his man management. Because I do look at that, the ability to demonstrate to Declan Rice, the ability to man manage Antonio, the ability to get the Tamori signing over line by saying, you're my number one guy, come in, you're going to be centre back for me. And I look at it here, actually, the ability to be able to forget the sort of, no offence, right? Forget the Dour Scotsman routine, right? Forget the deadpan. Actually be enthusiastic, be committed, be welcoming, and actually say to Areola, you're my number one guy. Do you know what? I wish I'd have played you more last season. You were brilliant in Europa. I'm going to start your first game of the season. Premier League, you're in. Do you know what? I'm going to play you in Premier League. I'm going to play you in Europe. And listen, I'll give Fabianski some games in the League Cup, but you are my number one guy. Something like that. Just do it. Just do it. Give him incentive and make him think, you know what, I might as well. And that way, all the other stuff just goes away. You think, actually, I don't have to move. I can stay in the flat. If he's in a flat, probably in a house. Probably a very big house. Caravan, boat, I don't know, wherever he lives, I can stay here. I don't have to move the kids out of school or anything like that. Everything stays the same. I'm going to stay at West Ham. I'm going to be the number one keeper. Wages sorted, money sorted. Easily done. The last thing we need is him going to Fulham because Fulham will guarantee him first team football. Well, we can do that. It's just the words. Easily done.